What in the hizzle? Oh, I get you. That's peculiar. Technical difficulties. Uh, welcome one, welcome all. Oh, I do love y'all. Um, got a little monkey friend because he was being bullied. Uh, but he feels I'm comforting him. His mother neglected him. My dog wants. Hey, one second. And my dog likes eating my booger rags. Um, here. But yeah, it's I don't know who's seen the video, but China they've been showcasing their new robot army. It's been interesting. The robots are doing the kung fu, karate, and all that stuff. And I don't know if you've been paying attention to the American government. They've been trying to go to war with China for a minute. I know several people in the military and working for refineries and whatnot, and I've heard multiple accounts that we were supposed to start going to war with China starting in 2025 or just a few years ago. Some people said as late as 2027. But the general consensus from people who are close uh, uh, to the military sources is they want us to go to war with China. And China, they got billions of people over there, way more technologically advanced than we are, better at planning civilization. I mean, you can't even say the U.S. is a civilized society. If we were civilized, we wouldn't have so much war. But they're showcasing all their robots. They're where we get all of our stuff from. We don't make our own shit. We get everything from China. And now the pedophiles on the Epstein client list, they want us to go to war against these Chinese robots. Um, Billions of Chinese people, as well as the most advanced robots and advanced weapons beyond our ability to comprehend. We have to prepare to fight them or bring the Epstein client list to justice. I don't, as far as I know, there's no Chinese government officials or anybody connected to the Chinese government or Chinese business on the Epstein list. So we have to fight the immoral child diddlers who are sacrificing people on Epstein Island. We have to fight for them, or we have to bring them to justice. And if we fight for them, it's going to be against the new Chinese robot. If you haven't seen the videos, you should be scared. It's like some shit. Like they could take down some Terminators. Terminators all slow and and this is it's scary, but nothing compared to what the Chinese folks got. And it's just who's going to pick up arms and fight China for the pedophiles? I don't think anyone it will. I like to believe that, but then I got family who was in the military, and it's just like some of them they get brainwashed to a point where it's just like they become unrecognizable. Uh, I heard some of the silliest shit. I had a cousin deployed in Korea, and he just came back and he just sounds like he was in the military. He just said the most racist shit. Uh, and I like to believe we would be smart enough to not fight these people, the pedophiles war. Especially, Malcolm X had a quote back then. It was 800 million Chinese people. He was like, the white man wants you to get ready to fight 800 million Chinese people, but he don't want you to fight for freedom here. So he wants you to go fight the white man's war, and then come back to being called a nigga. Paraphrasing, but that's roughly what he was saying. And now it's like over a billion. It's like 1.4 billion or something to that extent. Many more times than what we have in America. And, you know, they got a better life expectancy. Uh, uh, they got a lot more to fight for. You know, America, we go to wars. We're demoralized. What are we fighting for? We're gonna fight and come back to fentanyl laden streets, all high, ridiculously high homeless rate, suicidal rate amongst the troops, the veterans. It's like, what are we fighting for? So I we need a lot more soldiers breaking ranks. It is if the Chinese robots don't motivate you motherfuckers to start the war with the people we really need to go to war with, which is all of our enemies are domestic. I mean, you can say that, you know, they're acting on behalf of states like Israel. Really, we got the same lineage. It's the same rotten tree, both English colonies. But yeah, that's our wars. Whoever we fight, they got to be white faced. It's gonna be some white pedophiles. Um, and it's just, yeah, let's not confuse. And I got an employee evaluation coming up on Netflix that diving into some of the silly talking points that I was coming across. You know, like they're becoming more pervasive. It's like the what we're trying to the tactics they're using to divide us. It's same shit, different toilet, same shit, different flies. However you want to put it. Um, but it's just like it's just a whole lot of malarkey, and we really got to demonstrate that we've learned from it. You know, not buying to the tactics, and really just advance. I love seeing people protest. It makes you feel good having those numbers, but and evolved people, we're beyond just showing up and making it known that we are not happy with our circumstances. Now it's like, what do? We need to figure out wherever your position is. Um, it's a lot of people who are close to people in power in ways that they can't understand how to really affect it. You know, maybe you're just making food, or maybe you're just providing supplies. You just come across certain people who really need to have their life changed. They need to stop feeling so comfortable. And it's ways we need to figure out how to make uh, uh, people who so far have been completely unaccountable. You know, they've been getting away with some crazy shit, and it's just like the Epstein files being released without Epstein trials is really just rich people showing the level of depravity that they're able to get away with without accountability. And it's just like we allow them to just like, oh yeah, we were molesting kids and sacrificing people and eating cannibalism, all kinds of crazy shit. And it's just like they could do all this and no one goes to jail. That's just them flaunting it. They're flaunting their power. And we really need to do something. And right now, it's, you know, it's videos of these Zionists who are talking about they're going to have the FBI track you. They're going to make sure you can't get a job if you say anything bad about Israel. You say anything bad about like this foreign state, they're going to destroy your life. And it's just like they have the ability to affect us like that. But you know, if the system can affect people of conscience for speaking out against genocide, the system is completely rotted. Anything involved with the system, anything being propped up by these people, it needs to be completely invalidated. Anyone who has the power to shut down certain voices um, for speaking out, having a conscience, they need to be brought to justice. And it's just like they shouldn't be so brazen where they could just say the quiet part out loud and be rewarded. That's like crazy to me. And then the people who are yeah, uh, people who are doing the right thing on the right side of history, they get punished. That's a perverted uh, incentive structure. You know, it rewards all the wrong thing and punishes all the best behavior that we should be amplifying. That's how we get such a fucked up system where you got like all the murderers, you know, the people who think it's cool to go on shooting sprees. We got the highest shooting sprees because like the killer is the hero in a lot of people's books. We celebrate killers. We salute them on sporting events, violent sporting events, and it's yeah, we need to build a parallel universe. You know, the CIA, they had something. It was a program, the Phoenix, Operation Phoenix, and started World War or Vietnam War, where they would build a parallel government outside of the government they want to overthrow that was accountable to them. They had a lot of money, but it was like they had the system that was like, you know, that they were able to control, and it's like they had the ways of uplifting the people they wanted to see to thrive in, and then like they punish the people who they want to see out. You know, punish and they kill. They have morals or lack of morals. Tactics that I'm not prepared to use. But we need to learn from the structure. We have our own parallel government, which is community. Which is, you know, right now it's just like we have this corporate structure. It eats up anything locally owned. If you got any place that you grew up with, you had like that burger spot, the pizza place, you know, the locally owned whatever that your city was known for. Chances are it got ran out of town and it was replaced with the shit they got everywhere. They got McDonald's, Taco Bell, Walmart. You know, they made your shit look like every other place in the world, destroying the locally owned. And then in that process, they gave you this corporate shit that's full of poison. Your life expectancy went down. You know, your food does more traveling than you do. Right? You got hamburgers from 3,000 miles away. You got tomatoes from, you know, 1,000, and it's just like none of it makes sense. It should be locally sourced everything, and it's just like, you know, like people like Bill Gates, they get own all of the arable land in America, or most of it, majority. It's like what do these people do to uh, make them so worthy of controlling our food? And these are the people who want us to go to war. It's just like, would you go to war for Bill Gates? If you find out China or India or Venezuela, whoever, they locked up a bunch of our oligarchs. They're holding them hostage. Are you gonna suit up and go fight for these motherfuckers? I really got, you know, the people in the military. You guys really need to ask yourself these questions, because, you know, there are people taking a stand. It was someone who refused the orders to bomb boats in Venezuela. He ended up getting punished for that when he should have been rewarded. And yeah, we need that parallel system that rewards people who are doing the right thing. And yeah, and it's just like we need it fast because these Chinese robots. I don't want any smoke. They wanted to be China versus America. I mean, China versus the American government. I'm on China's side. China, how can I help? I'm on Venezuela's side against the government. Y'all, whatever I could do to help, reach out to me. I keep hearing people are Putin puppets. Putin is paying people to side with Russia over the American government. Help me with some of that Putin money. You guys got to connect. You know, I'll do whatever. I'm trying to subvert the government, and they could put me on whatever list. I mean, I'm already on the list. They took down all my channels, all my largest channels. I've been shadow banned, and then they just shut down the last channels I had just to do it. It wouldn't give my shit any airplay. You know, when you was at one point, I was the biggest Nate on all of YouTube. You just type Nate, I was the first one to pop up. You type NAT, I was still on that list. I was just going to become NA, then just the N, and just I was like working my way up. Then once they shut down my largest channel, like you can type in all of Netflix, the entire name, and the entire time it would just be Netflix. It would be Netflix and Netflix recommendations. It was like purposely obscuring my name. Yeah, because fuck YouTube. And yeah, and I was one of those people who was speaking out against what was going on in Palestine years before October 7th, because the entity that took my largest channel down, the Atlantic Council, I was made aware of it after other people helped me raise awareness about what happened to my channel, and then I realized uh, uh, through other people making me aware of it that my channel was taken down by the Atlantic Council because of the videos I was posting on police harassing me. One of the uh, the organizations that had sway over the Atlantic Council, who they took down, was the police union, and one of them was Saudi Arabia government and the Israeli government. And one of the before the police union were taking down channels like mine, the Israelis, they were taking down people who were showing what Israel and the IDF were doing to Palestinians. So it's like once I became aware of that, like I made content helping other people become aware of it, and then I became a target. Obviously, so they took down all my channels on that bitch. Um, and and it's just it's about time people who are on the right side of history get rewarded. I think it's crazy as fuck. I was right on COVID. Like I said a lot of shit that was like crazy to say at the time, but it was proven right. Even like there was the CEO of YouTube. She made a video um, talking about the dangers of talking about alternatives to the COVID vaccine. She said that they're pushing down non-authoritative news sources because people were saying you should take vitamin C and turmeric instead of a booster or a vaccine. And then she was like, yeah, it's dangerous to tell people to take turmeric over this vaccine. Dangerous to tell people to take turmeric. At best, they're just taking an anti-inflammatory. And maybe it does nothing for the COVID, but it's not going to do any harm. Vitamin C is not going to do any harm. But she was saying it's dangerous to take it. Lo and behold, we come to find out uh, Google was directly invested in the COVID vaccines that you couldn't speak ill about. And the CEO who was saying that it's dangerous to tell people to take turmeric and vitamin C, she died of a mysterious turbo cancer. Maybe I'm not gonna say it was the vaccine that did it, but it was like some weird turbo cancer that was affecting a good amount of the people who were taking this vaccine. I know several people who had strokes after it. Um, then my cousin who had a stroke, first thing I asked her was, did you take the vaccine? Because that is what was causing a lot of people to have strokes, because it was like constricting blood, and it was blood clots. They called it the clot shot. Well, some of the conspiracy analyzers. Yeah, and it's just now a lot of people, they've waken up to it. if they try anything else involving the vaccine, people I know who pick up a gun and start shooting are the people who took the vaccine the first time and then they realized they were lied to. Because I talked to several of those motherfuckers. They were like, if they met the person who lied to them, they'd shoot a motherfucker. Like and it was crazy. Because some of the people in the heat of the moment, some of those motherfuckers were saying some real fucked up shit, and I got family who are family loved ones who are just saying some of the craziest shit because they were just fully buying all the propaganda. And then someone like myself, like I said, on the right side of the issue the whole time. But then since it wasn't an authoritative news source, I get called crazy. And then the lies get millions of views. They prop up all the bullshitters. It was people like Rachel Maddow. She was like, you take the vaccine, you don't have to worry about getting COVID. You don't have to worry about spreading it. You're good. You're good to go. That ended up being total bullshit. And now we know that. But the liars still considered authoritative news sources. People who were right, shit. Still didn't get my channels back. And beyond the channels coming back, they should elevate everything I post in the fucking algorithm, since it's going to be more likely to be true since I'm not corrupted, and that's another thing. As soon as COVID hit, two of the number one things I was getting pressured to sell were COVID masks. They want me to do these custom Netflix COVID masks, which I was like, no, fuck no, this is not like going to be my legacy, right? And then NFTs. It was hella people trying to get me to sell NFTs, and I was like, that is crazy, fuck no. And then one person, I was getting the emails. I was like, no, this is bullshit. And then they were like, we got this amazing opportunity. They were being super vague. I was after having all my channels destroyed, I was going to different websites for sponsorship. I was with my ex, and I was just trying to get some money to pitch in. We got bills accumulating, and someone was reaching out. They were like talking about all this money opportunity. I was like interested. They were super vague about it, and then I get them on the phone. British cats. They were like, yeah, we calling from different time zone. We got to schedule it, and then it's like we start talking, and I'm like, talking. I'm like, there's got to be something because they talking about all this big money, and what they want is a NFT. I was like, y'all are crazy. Y'all think I'm gonna try to push NFTs to my viewers who are predominantly broke? You think I'm gonna rip off the viewership I got? They struggling probably harder than me, and then I'm gonna be the face of the motherfucking scam that y'all running on them. So they're gonna be mad at me and come for me when you making off with most of the money. I'll be lucky if I get a pittance of what you get paid. I was like, nah, y'all are crazy. And he was really trying to say, I don't think you know what an NFT is. I was like, yeah, I know enough. No, thank you. And that was like, I did take sponsorships, but I always give my real reaction to a lot of stuff. As a matter of fact, the issue I had with one of the sponsorship websites was when they got bought up by Google. They wanted me to bullshit. Like they had to approve the content I was making. So if I said anything critical about the product, even if it broke on me while I was testing it, like they could say, nope, you can't. You take that part out, or you won't get paid. So it's like basically lying to my viewers, so I won't get paid. So a lot of that shit, I would just, I complied as soon as the money went through. I took the video down. I was just like, yeah, nah, I'm good. But then they, like I said, they got bought up by Google. They shut that whole shit down, and Google made all the changes that made us have to be the bitch to these sponsors. And then they still just shut it down anyway because they can't have a real one figuring out how to navigate their treachery. My brother needed a kidney transplant, took that shot, died of cardiac arrest. Oh, I'm sorry about that. That shot is bullshit, and that's why they don't even talk about it anymore. Yeah. Well, and that Fauci, he was. I remember they had Fauci socks. They had all this memorabilia. Fauci is the god. Fauci's a great guy. All this shit, and he was such a great person that Joe Biden had to pardon him. He did such a great job. He needed a presidential pardon because they knew what he did was illegal, and they knew that they didn't want someone seeing their agenda to fruition. They didn't want him to be punished for it because like they were trying to do a vaccine, a AIDS vaccine back in the 80s, right? This is like something that's been in play for a very long time. So it's just like, don't think that any of this shit is new. This might be new to you, but yeah, these motherfuckers. Sorry about your brother though. That's crazy. And that's my brother was affected by it too. He had like heart issues. And it's just like, and I remember I had some crazy ass conversations with uh, loved ones who were just like, they were walking into the fucking mistake. And then they were talking to me like I'm crazy, like it's just like you just want to be right. You just want to be right. No, I don't want to be right. It doesn't do me good to be right and watch you poison yourself. I would like to be effective. I would like to believe what you believe, that the government is good and that these corporations are out to kill us. However, I was out protesting to shut down these corporate thieves. Before COVID, we were trying to put them out of business. Like their whole business model is sick. It's a sick incentive structure. We need to take the profit model out of healing people because people, even before COVID, people were dying because of the healthcare system, the perverse incentive structure. So I wanted them out of business. Like the largest fines of any company is on Pfizer, right? And they get a few $1 billion fine, on their way. It's like getting a speeding ticket on your way to get $1 billion. It's nothing. It's like they pay off a fine. No one's going to jail. They take the fines. That's a cost of doing business. But it's like uh, um they do all the scandalous shit, um, and they're never accountable. They really think they're above the law. Matter of fact, and it was crazy because COVID, we were getting the CEO was making all these announcements about mandatory vaccinations, and he sounded like a James Bond villain, like the German accent. He's like, "We are going to inject you." It is. I'm like, these motherfuckers. They're not even hiding this shit. It's crazy. How are you, Nate? I'm hanging in there. Hey, King. How goes it? My queen. Good seeing you. Exactly. I was like, regardless of the political views, maybe just wait on that shot, brother. And parents didn't listen. My parents survived, but got heart murmur from the shot. Yeah, no, that is crazy. Now it was I was with my ex at the time. One of the reasons, I stayed with her so long. I mean, we met during COVID, and this is when everybody was crazy. It was like people were just once they'd be asking if I got the shot, like no, and then they say some crazy shit because they made the decision because they, a lot of them, they were forced by their job. Then they just were like, if I'm gonna take it, I'm also just gonna believe the bullshit propaganda because this is how they justified in their head. So they would just say some crazy shit because they justified it and they want me to believe it. And then they meet someone who's like questioning it, and then they just like it's just like it goes against their programming. So they just it was like I was running into like a certain kind of mindset, and it was just like no, no, no. Um, then my ex was like one of the first people, and then plus like on top of the programming shit, it would just be like random racism towards Asian people, right? So they bit into all the and then like they would talk about Chinese people eating bats and their diet, they eating pangolins, they doing all this crazy shit. And it was just like it was racist to say that it had anything to do with the Chinese lab that was funded by our government. That was the racist thing. But you could talk about like Chinese people's diets and just how Asian people are dirty. It was like mind boggling. So yeah, I was I was kind of comforted by the fact that my ex was like just not on that crazy shit. But then it was like she had a uncle and an aunt. They came to stay for a minute, and they were like going jumping through hoops. They came out of state because they wanted to be the first people to take the one shot, one hit clot shot, the Johnson and Johnson. That was the first one to be taken off the market. They wanted to be the first. Like as soon as it was announced, it's a one shot vaccine. It's the only one you're gonna need. They were like that. We're gonna jump the line so we could like be good on our COVID. We won't have to worry about this anymore. Woo. And it was just like it was crazy because I was like hearing them talk about. I was talking to our uncle about it. I was like, you want to get this vaccine? You're like you're excited to try it. She's like, yeah, we're gonna do some travel. We got I wanted to do it, and we gotta I want to be able to fly without thinking about it. I was like, so there's a vaccine. Normally when you get a vaccine, you get introduced into the virus. So isn't there a chance that you could just get the vaccine and then test positive for COVID, even though you could just you got the vaccine, like you won't be able to fly? He's like, never thought about that. And he was like, well, I'm sure it won't happen like that. And sure enough, everybody I know who got the vaccine, they had the worst COVID. For me, I was around. Like I said, it was people coming in and out of the house, all of them vaccinated. I ended up catching it at one point, lasted a weekend, and then I was over it. Everybody who got vaccinated, that shit lasted weeks, months. Then they get over it. It's like, okay, I'm finally done with the COVID, and then boom, right back into it. I was like, this. It seems like you get the COVID vaccine, you get more COVID, and then you get it worse, and you almost die from it. You get other shit wrong with you too. Um, yeah, and that's uh, uh, I can't say that shit on YouTube. That you'd be censored for saying that shit. I remember one of the videos that got me my channel taken down was after they started bringing in scientists and doctors who were speaking out against the COVID, the clot shot. They were talking about the uptick in all these cancers, all this stuff, and this was a congressional hearing with doctors and whistleblowers who were working with the government talking about this shit. I posted video of that, and that was one of the strikes. So you could not post anything that was critical, even if it was like official government uh, uh, hearings. You couldn't post anything. What's crazy is I was down to get the shot, but then they did that shady joints for jabs, for burgers for a jab. I was like, hell nah, I'm out. They were doing everything to incentivize that shot. But it's just like here's how you know it was all bullshit. If they really really care about your health, it wouldn't be a mandatory vaccine. It would be universal health care. So it's not like you have to take this shot. And it's crazy. We were fighting. We were showing up. Bernie's 2016 and 2020 campaign, both running on healthcare for all. They're like, no, that's crazy. That's pie in the sky. We can't do healthcare for all. We don't give a shit. It's like asking for candy. It's unrealistic expectation. It's like, okay, these same companies, they're like, but we will give you a mandatory vaccine because we care about your health. You care about my health, but you won't give me insulin when I need it. You won't give me whatever necessary drugs I can't afford. You won't give me an EpiPen when needed. Like you rip my head off for all the essentials, but you're going to give me this fucking clot shot, this experimental drug that does not do any of the stuff that it is proclaimed to do. And I got friends who just like, it was a friend who just needed a vitamin E shot. It was just like, to help like prevent seizures and all this shit. It was just a shot of vitamin E or some shit like that, and it was a $1,500 shot. They would not give that one out for free. They give you this shit that will give you strokes, heart attacks, turbo cancers. Yeah, this shit is by design. You say you are out, but were you ever in? Hmm. Good point. I don't know what that means. What I said, out, like out. You talking about in? I'm always in, baby. Never out. I got the Pan African love. That's always gonna be in. Mm. Whew. Yeah, it's speaking of out, I had a refrigerator that was out. Shit was all my food went bad. I had to get it fixed, and uh still getting rid of that smell in the house. But I got some more groceries though. Weird. Didn't want to eat out all the time. I had to eat out a little bit, but I think that's one of the beautiful things. Um, the past year, I've only eaten out very, very few times. I was like, and that's usually like when I'm working crazy schedule when I don't have time to get home and cook my own shit. But I've been um, happy to say I've been cooking a lot. Yeah, be nice to have someone to help though. Government made it shady. Like they said, when has the government gave us free anything? And they gave you free oppression. And that's everything that is free. It is just like, even if it seems like a blessing, it is a trap. Free phones. That's a trap. It's like Israel. They did that. They detonated a bunch of pagers. Had people being blown up. They had this whole system in play. Like they were in control of all of the manufacturing and this distribution of these pagers. Um, and then they were saying, oh, it's targeting Hezbollah, but it was all kinds of people being killed. It had nothing to do with Hezbollah. They were maiming kids. It was just like, it was disgusting. Then after that shit, they were joking about what they were doing to Hezbollah. They were like, oh, now they're going to have to take out the ball and Hezbollah because the pagers blew up their balls, making disgusting shit like that. But then they were talking about like the closeness they had with our manufacturers, with the people who make our phones. Um, and then they took. If you haven't paid attention, we like to think we have this free market, but certain people have the ability to shut down competition. So, um, like say something like Google and Android. I am old enough to remember when we had more smartphone options. Like there was way more. We had way more smartphone options than we do now. So you had the ability to get Palm Pre, or Palm device. You had BlackBerry. You had Windows CE. You had the Nokia. You had sidekicks. You had all kinds of alternatives. Oh, and I missed it. You had different kinds of designs. Like you can get physical keyboards. Now everything is just like a slim, just a screen with a camera on both sides. You can't take the battery out. Um, and yeah, and if it's not Google specific, it has Google in it from the jump. Like you either get an Android phone or it's going to be an Apple phone that has Google. Um, yeah, so they and you can't take the battery out. It's always listening, always watching, always emitting. Because all these radios, they're not very good for you. But it's just like now we're in a digital age where there's a lot of places you go, they don't accept cash, which is crazy because it says it's legal U.S. tender, should be able to be spent anywhere. But it's like places that you got to carry either a phone or cards, or in the cards they got their own digital emission. So it's just like uh, it is concerning. And then, they if you can't afford a phone, you get one for free. Because the government wants to be able to track everybody. That's why it's always live a boring life. Just don't say anything that can get you criminally indicted. Government's always listening. Uh, well, until we bring them to justice. You can just let them know that you're coming for them. I'm just curious because I never was ever tempted to take the jab. Yeah, nah, I was skeptical from the beginning. And yeah, that's why I was like particularly dangerous. And then, after being right about, several events, I mean, I'm like, I'm pretty quick on picking up whenever is something is bullshit, because anytime you can't question the narrative being provided, you get shut down, get called crazy. I'm like, this is wrong. They are definitely on the wrong side of history. That's why they're not letting you question it. Because when they run out of lies, they do not let you question. So it's just like this is, they just this is a hail mary. They expect us to be that stupid. And this is However, one of the things I do, I'm not gonna say comforting, but it's like one of the benefits, like events like COVID and shit like that. Certain people show their colors, because certain people like they just embrace that authoritarian shit, and it's just like like you have your circle shooken up a little bit. Like when people start like just really just going crazy, and they reveal who they are. Like they don't show solidarity. They start like just saying this crazy shit. Like when people were posting shit like laughing, they were like, "Oh, this unvaccinated person died. LOL. They had it coming. Stupid idiot." Like what? Who does it? That's like some cruel shit. I wasn't the biggest fan of Charlie Kirk. But that it was like one of the how it was introduced to me that he died was someone was like, "I got some good news," and I was like, "What?" It was like Charlie Kirk got shot in the neck. It's like that's how's that good? That's terrible. Like, yeah, but he said some fucked up shit. I was like, yeah, sure, but was he a war criminal? You know, was he that? You know, what was he? Was he actively doing something bad to you personally? Why would you celebrate someone dying? Oh, and speaking of Charlie Kirk, the is looking like he wasn't actually shot. You know, he was speaking out against what was going on in Israel. He was just starting to wake up to how evil Israel was, and then he died. Looks like uh, uh, he had a lapel mic that was detonated, kind of like the pagers that blew up when Israel was killing those folks in Hezbollah. Not saying Israel was definitely involved, but Israel came out and said that they did not kill Charlie Kirk almost immediately after he was killed. So that's suspicious as fuck. I mean, who says that? I had nothing to do with killing Charlie Kirk, but I didn't release any tweets to say that specifically because that's some suspicious shit to say. You know, that's crazy. Um, it's like the surveillance thing. Everybody was worried about face recognition. All of a sudden, everyone has the Ring cameras. We do the dirty work for them all the time. Yeah, I mean, you got your face recognition. You turn on your phone. Turn on your device. That's how you unlock it. Your face. Maybe that's why um, the AI is so accurate because it's always looking at our faces, getting face from different angles, and it is crazy. And that's like the funny thing, funny, ironic, and tragic. Uh, my channels were taken down because of misinformation. Um, then they create a misinformation machine, Chat GPT, all of these AIs that like they can distort reality, like they can make some shit that looks real as fuck, so you don't know what's real, what's fake. You can't believe anything you see on the screen. It's like you have to question everything. Um, and it's just like it's so easy to make fake shit. That's why I don't use the AI anything because I don't want I live an interesting life. I don't want anyone question all the weird shit that I got cataloged that. But yeah, it is crazy that they shut down one person for spreading misinformation that was proven to be true, and then create the biggest misinformation machine in the world. Makes you just have to question everything. Like just look at everything in disbelief. Like this can't be real. Is this AI? Fucking crazy. Yeah, that's why. And I would encourage anybody not to use that shit because this is you think you're learning AI, but it's learning you a lot better than you're learning it. And it is, man, it is knuckin' futs. Yeah, I was talking to a family member about it. He was like, I sent like an animated version of him, uh, and he was like, I don't trust that AI shit. It's like that's demonic. I was like, I can believe that because it is, and people are just watching AI generated content all the time, just staying locked into a screen that's just creating a bunch of garbage specific for you. No one else is going to understand it. No one else is going to get it. But it's just like, at least back in the day, we used to watch the same propaganda so we could like discuss it. Now we're just like, we're just getting lost in our own rabbit hole. We have no language of describing what we're looking at. We have no one to discuss it with. And we just like, yeah, we are uh, chopped and screwed. And the robots in China, they just like looking at us. They're learning. They're coming for us. So it's just like, what side are you on? Hey, Nate, last question. You've been on YouTube for a while and was once YouTube famous. Was there any weird Epstein like stuff within YouTube, or is YouTube basically Hollywood 2.0? Well, I mean, shit. I did an interview with Diddy's son, but that was like some weird shit. I mean, some weird shit happened behind the scenes. Like, dude was randomly doing push-ups. He showed up late. He more so not like, I didn't get invited to a Diddy party. None of that stuff. I definitely, I saw some weird shit. It was like the places you wouldn't expect. So, uh, first Coke party I ever went to. I didn't know it was a Coke party. I didn't even smoke weed at the time. Um, but it was a cat who was on Tool Academy, and my friends knew him, and they had like other like-minded or the same friends, and it was like, but this was not my circle. I only knew two people who we were who we rolled up there with, and we met the cat from Tool Academy. This motherfucker, he went broke from that Tool Academy money. He spent it all on a car, and then he ended up making a video where he beat off on his boy for like $20,000 when he was still uh, uh, coming down from the Tool Academy fame. I was like, that's some weird shit, and he didn't view that as gay. Whatever. People think fucking with a transgender person is not gay, and everybody's got their own ideas. But anyways, yeah. So we get to it was a house party at someone Witches of Waverly Place, like a producer on that show, and I didn't watch the show. I just knew it was like a kid show, and I was told it was going to be plentiful booze, right? And we get in there, and then I'm just like sitting having my drink. This chick comes up to me, super friendly. She was like, she was attractive. She was like just coming up. She's like, oh, hey, um, I don't know anybody here, but you got any Coke? I was like, what? I was confused. I was like, what makes you think I'm doing Coke? And then I found out that there was a room where they were doing Coke. It was a Coke room. It was a weed room. It was a whip it room. It was like they were doing all this shit. I was like I said, I didn't even smoke weed, and it was like this child show producer has got all these drugs and just some very suspicious shit going on in the place. And then I had an ex uh, who she ended up moving into my place. It was like a long story. It was like random because she was like saying she was living with her cousin, and I think that all this shit was bullshit. I found out later, like that she was living with some dude. Um, then she was like ended up moving to my place. I'm paying for everything. She's getting more of my money than me, right? Um, Helping her find work. I was like doing paid auditions. I was trying to connect her with the same people. She was doing her own thing. I was going to these sponsorship websites. She was going to something that I thought was like the sponsorship websites I was going to. Find out it was like a precursor to OnlyFans work. It was like she was getting just some questionable ass shit. But I was like, letting her do her. I was like letting her use my car to go run these little things. And I'm thinking, she's stacking up money. She got this job with through this Disney thing, and I'm like thinking we're gonna use this money, combine it so we can get a place of our own. Because she moved into me in my spot when I had roommates. Um, and I'm thinking we're just gonna combine our money, get our own place. We'll be saving money. Well, I mean, we'll have the money to afford it. It'll be a little bit more than what I'm paying, but it'll be less than if she were to go out and get her own place. Anyways, long story short, she loved me paying for everything, but once she started getting checks big enough where we could start figuring out how to move forward, combine our money and do something together, she decided it would be a good idea to move into this Disney house where she would have a bunch of other roommates. So I would be living at my place with my roommates. She'd be living at her place with her roommates. We'd be paying more money than we would if we would have got our own place, like combined. And she was just expecting me to be okay with it. But yeah, long story short, there's all kinds of evidence that was the Disney house thing was just like some sex trafficking shit. Because it was like this was before OnlyFans or before I knew what OnlyFans was. And one of the things, cause I caught her, she was using the phone I bought her to negotiate porn, right? And I was like talking to her about it. I was like, that's crazy that you just you do these kinds of videos. You don't think I'm gonna find out about it? And then she was like, I was trying to get you to help me with it because she wanted to do she wanted me to film a sexual encounter with her, and she was making it seem like she wanted to do it like for me to keep for myself, but she was really trying to use it for some creeps. Like they were just trying to get her doing sexual shit on film, and she was just like, you didn't want to do it, so I was just going to do it with this other cat. Of like this, and she thought that was going to make her case like better. Like it's just worse. You were going to fucking use me for porn without me knowing about it. That's crazy that you think that's okay. And then you know, LA is I got all kinds of crazy shit. No, none of the. I mean, motherfuckers did try to do the weird shit. I was invited to some weird celebrity swingers thing. I was at this bar, same bar where the fucking the Tool Academy dude worked at. It was a lot of producers who would they'd have events there. One cat, he was like bragging about getting head from a transgender dude who was trying to get on one of his shows. I was like, that is crazy that you think that's brag worthy. I mean, not just because it's a transgender person, but also it's just like this is how you get laid. You feel me? You have to hold power over people. That is crazy. Um, but yeah, it was one of the times I was there. It was a chick. She was getting harassed by somebody, so she pretended to know me, and like she pretended I was her husband. Because the dude was like all on her shit, and she was just like, just go along with it. And I was like, okay. I'm just sitting there, and we're just talking. Just pretending I know her. And the dude who was like harassing her, he was like, "Y'all a couple?" It's like y'all will be perfect for the swingers party. Y'all get down, like we get down. I was like, "What is going?" And he was talking about this celebrity swinger. He's like, "I love, y'all do fine." He was just he thought it was compliments. I was like, "This is the creepiest shit." Um, uh, uh, and that's like some weird shit. Like I'm always you should always be wary of any chick who's like flirtatious and got a dude around her, because a lot of times it's like it's some weird motherfucker who want to watch y'all fuck, and that happened a few times in LA. And I was like, yeah, that's why I got so many trust issues around that shit. I mean, it happens. It happened outside of LA too, but the shit was weird. It was LA is just it's an interesting place. Um, but when I decided to get the fuck out of there, it was just like my last sex was the last straw. I was like, this is, you know, everyone sees you as a commodity. It's like, what can I get from you? I know I'm dope enough for people to be genuinely interested, but it was just like it was. I just didn't feel it when I was out there. I just felt like everybody wanted something, and yeah, it was. But none of the no, I didn't let anybody get too close to me, like with baby oils or anything like that. I shot all that shit down, and then some people who I feel like they were like putting some shit out there like they're in, but like they see my reaction and they know not to push it because I'm from the Bay and I'll fuck somebody's shit up. I'll be like nice and calm a lot of the time, but I'll be ready to throw hands before you know it. Um, Thankfully, never had to really do it. LA, a lot of people are fake crazy. I know it's like some real uh, 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 thug types out there, but when I was uh, uh, when I was working, the areas I was working, it was like a lot of pretend crazy people. You know, it's not like Bay shit. Been following since before your rewinds. Glad to see you still active. Well, I can't put this shit down. It's like a crack pipe and whatnot. Haha. That's crazy. So not really YouTube, more Disney being corrupted as always. Well, and see, this is the thing when we get into YouTube, okay, Maker, that all of these um, networks that were bought up by uh, Disney, bought up by Paramount, bought up by all the major networks on television, right? They were funded by YouTube. So when I first started on YouTube, there was no such thing as a network, and that's when they had a algorithm that favored uh, um, engagement. So I had high level engagement. That's why I was just like, I was like the number one Nate, and I was just like, it was like I couldn't be dethroned when we had that certain algorithm, right? So, but when we had that algorithm, I was doing my own shit. I was like creating my own content, and it was just like, you know, uh, uh, likely to say stuff that really went against the status quo. All right. So what they ended up doing, they funded these networks. So even though when my numbers were going up, my views were going up, my money was going down. So then these networks, they were reaching out. They were like, "Hey, you want to sign on here? Sign up." And then, that's when I was tricked into signing on the full screen because they were like, "We can do these sponsorships. We can do this. We can get you a higher CPM rate and all this shit." So I signed to a network, and what you end up doing when you sign with one of these networks, they bring you into these rooms. They're like, "We love everything about you. Let's change the 50 things that make you who you are, to make you some money." And it's a way of just controlling your message. So they used to have me do these shows. It was through full screen. I was doing like the interview with Diddy's son and shit like that. And it was really like a way of bringing the heat that I had, because my viewers, a high percentage of my viewers were only subscribed to my channel. They were only watching my content, right? And they view me as an authentic person. This is like they did all these studies on my shit, and they were like, okay, we see what this person has, so let's get him to endorse these people. So like that's what they had me doing shit for Jimmy Kimmel, and I didn't even watch that shit. Um, they had me, they wanted to, uh, uh, get me seen with fucking Matt Damon and all these motherfuckers because they were trying to bring TV onto YouTube. Uh, and then, once we started making the transfer, I still had people who would only watch my shit. So it's just like they had to get rid of my shit, especially I was like controversial. The police harassment videos. That's like something they don't want anybody to see. They don't want us to know we're in a police state. Um, and I question too much. So yeah, so it was by design. YouTube started off to be a counter to what we saw on TV, like something, where we could have a conversation. Well, I used to love that shit. We used to have the ability to respond directly to a video. So you have a video the top page. It was like the top 100 videos on the page, and you could respond to their video. They could say something completely fucked up, incorrect, but you can make a video response like this. Let me make this point that showing you why you're wrong here, 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 and that's how I got a lot of my heat, like responding to other people's videos. My first channel was mostly just responding to other people's shit. Um, and yeah, and then they took all that shit down. They didn't want a conversation. They wanted to like, if you go to the front page of YouTube right now, it's nothing but ads. And a lot of the ads, they're covert ads. You don't even realize it's an ad. And that's that I had mad issues with how they were doing the advertising. Like I never trust any product that anyone is speaking about on YouTube, because I saw what they wanted me to do for those sponsored ads or those sponsored videos. Like I said, they make you take down anything critical of the product. So if it breaks on you, if I want to get paid, they won't let me tell you that this shit broke while I was testing it. And it's just like, they destroy trust. That's why it's just like, I wouldn't lie to my viewers, because I get blamed for that shit. And I've had like my address, multiple addresses doxed. um, but I don't think that had anything to do with me lying to people on videos. It was like I had crazy people find out where I live. Yeah. So, but I don't want anyone to hate me, because motherfuckers, it's so easy to find out where I stay. And I had friends who had crazy shit happen, crazier shit than me. But I'm blessed in a lot of ways. Um, Probably to blackmail you later on. Yeah, no doubt. Thanks for being cool, dude, and not selling out. I'm sure the temptation was real. I mean, I get rewarded in different ways, but I still got a soul and whatnot. And now all the famous people have podcasts. It makes sense. They wanted to steal it from regular people from the beginning. Oh, I mean, and it's crazy because uh, uh, met quite a few people, like who just, the ones who really get propped up, and they got nothing to say. They're like an empty vessel. You feel me? I got into the game. I already had a lot of life experience. I remember it was like the first videos I was like making before employee evaluations or rewinds or any of that shit. It was just discussing my life experience. I was like made videos talking about working, and it was like people making fun of me, like, "Oh, you worked at a Home Depot." Like, okay, you never had a job, and it was just like, it was like crazy, like the insult, like the stuff people thought was an insult. Like, motherfucker, I've been working since I was 10. Um, a lot of people, uh, their whole thing was to just, they use mommy and daddy's money to pay for ads for their channel, and then they never said anything interesting. They just copied people like myself, steal all the ideas, all the content, make replicas. Is one of the most insulting things. It was like someone who was favored by YouTube. She just took my formula and just like made my kind of content with, where she said nothing about anything, nothing. It was just like, my shit, love it or hate it, it has a point, it has a message. It's like a general, you know I mean, it's some silly shit in there, but it's like, it's usually, got a broader point I'm trying to make. This shit, it was just like, just dumb shit, hella racist, but casually. And YouTube loved it. YouTube, like that, they put that shit on the front page, because, like I said, I don't use YouTube, but like, I used to just go into a blank browser, like, something that's, nothing is logged into. There's no history of watching anything, and just like kind of see the shit that they're promoting. And it was just like, it was that kind of shit, just like soulless nothing, where it's just like their whole purpose is to just get famous for fame's sake. And my thing has always been like, if you could have the world's ear, what would you say to people, right? It's like I always had like a broader message. And it's just it's crazy how YouTube just, they really want that soulless shit. That's why I encourage anybody, delete that shit. I mean, it's hard to find anything that really allows revolutionary messaging to be passed, but it's not going to be YouTube. The revolution will not be monetized. But anywho, internet, this went on a little longer than expected. I do got some upcoming videos over at Netflix.net, employee evaluations, rewinds. Go check it out. Also uploaded new rewind and employee evaluation already. So uh, let that be your next view. Netflix.net. Be good to each other. Peace.